Little donkey on the dusty road. Got to keep on plodding onwards with your precious load. Been a long time, little donkey, through the winter's night. Don't give up now, little donkey, Bethlehem's in sight. Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Little donkey had a heavy day. Little donkey carried Mary safely on her way. Little donkey carried Mary safely on her way.
Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem was no easy trip. Let's listen to the thoughts of Deacon Frederick Bartels.
When we think of Christmas, we often think of Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem, the city of David, in which Jesus was born. The pregnant and delicate Mary riding on a donkey, Joseph confidently leading the way as her husband and protector with staff in hand. The demanding and dangerous trip to Bethlehem, finding no room available at the inn upon their arrival, and thus giving birth to Jesus in a cave that served as a stable. But what would the trip to Bethlehem really have been like? Mary was familiar with long days of hard work, likely began her day at sunrise by preparing a meal, perhaps of bread and oil, with dried fish. Water needed to be carried and stored for drinking, cleaning, bathing, and washing clothes. Food such as ground wheat flour had to be collected and prepared. Firewood gathered for cooking and providing warmth in winter. Clothes laundered. Consequently, Mary's workday was perhaps 10 hours long. To keep up, she had to be strong and efficient. Joseph would be no less familiar with tough times and demanding labour. His days as a tradesman, a carpenter, began at sun up and continued until the light had gone, or nearly so. He was strong and resilient, with tough, rough, calloused hands. But what was it like? It was difficult, strenuous, and highly dangerous. The Gospels fail to convey just how challenging it was. How long would it have taken to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem? People could perhaps travel about 20 miles a day. However, given Mary's late stage of pregnancy, that number would have been much less, perhaps around 10 miles a day. This means their journey likely took place over a 10-day period. The hazards were many. Wild animals, bandits, desert robbers, all these and more factored into the nature of the trip. The valley of the Jordan River was a forested refuge for lions, bears, and wild boar. Archaeologists have uncovered signs warning travellers of these kinds of dangers. For provisions, Mary and Joseph would have relied on bread, herbs, and oil, with perhaps some dried fish as an extra protein-boosting treat. Water would need to be carried, perhaps in wineskins. After such a long, dangerous, and gruelling trip, Mary and Joseph arrived in Bethlehem, a name which means house of bread. It is fitting that the Christ child born there is the bread of life, who gives himself, his flesh and blood, as food for eternal life. But due to the census, Bethlehem is overcrowded. There is no room at the inn. There is no room for Mary and Joseph anywhere, except in a cave used as a stable to house animals. This was a journey that neither Mary nor Joseph wanted to take. It was forced upon them. At times, all of us find ourselves on journeys we don't want to take. Sometimes, as with Mary and Joseph, the journeys happen because of someone else's decisions or actions. The journeys may be painful, and we may find ourselves deeply discouraged along the way. But God promises to sustain us, even though we may walk through the darkest valleys. God tells us to turn our burdens over to Him, and He can make something beautiful of them.